Welcome back, everyone. For those that don't know me, my name is Omar. I'm the creator of Astrology.com. And in today's video, what I want to do is dissect some of the energies that we're seeing in the collective consciousness for this upcoming week. So let's talk about it. There's a lot happening in terms of the transits and what's going on with regard to how everyone is feeling, how everyone is reacting, and there's a lot of tension happening and building up for this next coming week. So one of the obvious things that are happening is that the sun is moving into the sign of Cancer. So what we'll see is a shift of this sort of chaotic Gemini energy that we've been used to for the last month or so, and transition into a more nurturing, caring, intuitive consciousness that we'll be feeling throughout the week. And this week, Mercury will finally be turning direct. So all of those issues that we've been having, those technological issues and communication breakdowns, all of that should be smoothing out a little bit more as Mercury slows down from its retrograde motion and finally goes direct again. And maybe this time I'll remember to hit the record on the camera and not film 30 minutes of a video that actually isn't there. And we also have Jupiter turning retrograde starting June 20th to about October 18th. So that's a good 6-month period in which we'll see a shift in how everyone is sharing ideas, more so about the understanding that we all need to have when we approach each other. And what most people may know is Jupiter is the greater benefice of astrology. It is the planet of expansion. It's the planet that rules foreign ideas, foreign cultures, all things sort of outside of ourself. It rules the superconscious mind. And it is key in helping us understand and share ideas with a broader community. So with Jupiter going retrograde, what we'll see is a greater need for that exchange of ideas, a greater need for us to learn to understand one another, right, in ways that we haven't actually taken the time to do so. And because all retrogrades give us the opportunity to change our attention and shift our focus, with Jupiter, we'll have that opportunity to broaden our horizon, take our times to slow down and understand the other side, understand those ideas that may be foreign to us in a different way. So when we think about what's happening now in society, there's a lot of misunderstanding with regard to culture, with regard to ideas and what makes us think the way we do, what our philosophical characteristics are. With Jupiter retrograding from Pisces to Aquarius, there's going to be a move from a more belief-based system to a knowledge-based system that we see with Aquarius. So when we look throughout the week and the next coming months, we have to think about how we can relate to other people. How can we learn to accept others and their ideas and sort of assimilate that into who we are and the collective consciousness. And what we're seeing is that Saturn is in this really delicate tension between Uranus and Mars, right? We can see that there is a Uranus-Saturn square currently happening, as well as a Saturn-Mars opposition that's approaching. And understanding these archetypes of Saturn, Uranus, and Mars, we can see that Saturn is doing a lot to hold things together, right? Now, if we look at that Saturn-Mars opposition that's approaching, what we're seeing is a push and pull or tug of war is the typical idea of a unstoppable force meeting an immovable object.
What happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? You truly are incorruptible, aren't you?
And while it's not quite the Batman and Joker scenario, what it does is it gives you the idea of what's happening, right? You have Mars, the go-getter, the warrior, the one who wants to continue without stopping, will meet Saturn, the stone-cold professor of the zodiac. Saturn is the planet that's going to put things on pause, take a step back, rethink, calculate before moving forward. Now, what this means for the collective consciousness is there's going to be a lot of this tension happening. You're going to feel the need to jump, to get things started, but there's also going to be the need to think about what you need to do, plan, take the time to come up with ideas, right? So you're going to have to find that balance. And that's ultimately what's happening right now. The need to find balance between the need to go and the need to stay, think, and calculate. It's a delicate structure that we're talking about here. And ultimately, what we're going to need to do is tiptoe that line, find the best place between those two polar opposites. And you're going to notice that with Mars in Leo, there's even more of a need to go forward. There's more of a need to reach our goals and fulfill our ambitions and keep the pride in check. And that's what Saturn is there. It's really there to help Mars keep himself in check, help us keep our desires and our ambitions in a way that we can use them in a more beneficial approach. And then with Uranus squared Saturn, what you're seeing there is somewhat similar to the Mars-Saturn opposition. However, Uranus isn't always trying to just keep going. Uranus is the innovator. Uranus is the rebellious planet of the zodiac. So you take the planet like Uranus, who's trying to break free of the mold, with Saturn, who's trying to keep the mold together, you'll also see that same tension, that inner dialogue that's happening between all of us, right? There's a need to grow. There's a need to do things different. But then you have Saturn, the old guard, that's standing in the way of innovation. And it's not necessarily standing in the way of innovation to keep it from happening, but it's more so an idea that Saturn wants to make sure we do things right in a structured, ordered kind of way. And if you kind of just let Uranus run amok, things will be changing all over the place and there'll be little structure to any of it. So for this week, this coming week, and again for the weeks to come, because these aspects are moving so slowly, what we'll see is there is going to be a greater need for balance. There's going to be a greater need to stop and think. Because what we're seeing is that Saturn is at the crux of all of these energies that we can see happening. And Saturn tells us, wait, take a second, think about what you're doing. Let's make a plan. Let's put some structure behind this. Let's hold back, right? While you have Mars and Uranus that's just trying to go, change, and innovate. Sometimes you need innovation at a slower pace. Sometimes you need to think about the steps needed to grow. And ultimately, this is the foundation of the energies that we're seeing for the week. And you can also see there's an approaching aspect between Venus and Pluto, right? Pluto is always going to be that planet that is about power, control, change, destruction to rebuild, right? The rising of the phoenix, that's Pluto. And when we talk about Venus in opposition to Pluto, there's going to be that, again, that same pull, that same tug of war happening between the need for power and the need for security or even beauty, the things that Venus rules, right? Money specifically. So we may see a shift with regards to how we handle money on a collective basis and our power structure with regards to money. Who is in control of the money? Who is in control of our financial security? These are the questions that we're going to need to answer or consider when we talk about the overall energies for this week and moving forward. And you can see a lot of this happening in the news. You can see it kind of slowly building up. And with regards to astrology, it helps to make those predictions so that you can plan accordingly, maybe sidestep some issues or obstacles that you see coming. And overall, you're seeing a need to rein in a lot of our impulses. And when we talk about Saturn at the center of it, Saturn is helping us to keep things in line, keep things in a barrier, in this controlled state, while our desires and our need for change and impulse sort of runs amok. And that's where you see that Saturn ties everything in. And when it comes to us and how we move, what we need to do is consider the following. How are we controlling our actions? How are we reining in our need to move forward and our desire to achieve? And how are we keeping tabs on our need to change, right? Or our need to innovate? What we need to do is think about how we can do these things in a structured manner. How can we move forward in a way that's going to be most beneficial for us? So I hope this video was helpful. You know, when you're looking at transits like this, what you want to do is relate it to yourself as much as possible. Think about where these planets are in your chart and understanding how you're going to react to certain situations. So if you have any questions, definitely shoot me a note in any of the comments. Hit the like and subscribe to the video. And if you're a Cancer, let me know in the comments as well. This is your season. This is your time to use these energies to accomplish your goals for this season.